Today, we are revisiting Mission Impossible on the N64. I remember it fondly from childhood and had a lot of fun playing it. So, I was surprised when I saw a lot of negative buzz surrounding the game. Let's dust off that cartridge I had back then and see what this game still has to offer. The game starts us off with a little cutscene in which we get a mission. And just like in the movie and series, the message explodes after you are done with it. So, we are sent on a mission in the cold where we have to track down and blow up a missile before it gets sold to a terrorist group. First, we notice that instead of shooting our way through the base, we have to use a face mask to disguise ourselves as a high-ranking officer so we can order someone to move a truck so we can hide in the truck and go to the next level. So, as you can see from the first level, this game does not try to copy any other game. It is, especially for its time, trying to do its own thing. It sells you the fantasy of being in a spy thriller on an impossible mission. So, the game has a puzzle aspect. Seeing how much they managed to do with the limitations of the time, I was and still am impressed with how deep some of these levels are. And that is a good thing, because the shooter controls are terrible. Even for the time, they could have been a lot better. At the end of this mission, we go to the missile and submarine and blow them up, after which we complete our mission and escape. In the next mission, we get another one of those intro scenes. And I like that they take their time here. I also like that you have these little text scrolls to introduce you to your team and which gadgets you will be using. As a kid, I loved this and read all of it. It gave me a feeling of preparing for the big mission. But anyway, we have to infiltrate an embassy, rescue or capture teammates and recover a stolen list. This mission I remember so well. I loved this mission. So the thing here is that you have to go undercover as a party guest and complete the level by puzzling together where your teammates are and how to use your gadgets to access the deeper secured areas. And this just blew my mind as a kid. You don't shoot a single bullet in this level. You have objectives telling you what you need to do, but they don't tell you how. That's for you to figure out. And that's just awesome. It made me feel like I was there, doing the mission, making it up as we went along. Let's walk through the level. It might seem like it's not that impressive now, especially if you compare it to modern games, but back in 1998 it felt like you had the freedom to do whatever you wanted. As the mission starts, we get informed that there's a counter-spy in the area who knows who we are and wants to kill us. So, right away, there are complications we need to deal with. But first, we need to figure out where our teammates are and get the stuff they have sneaked in for us. So we find our first teammate talking to some random guy and must wait until we can speak in private. So we leave them be and place some machines to prepare for our escape later. Then we hit up the bar where our second teammate was waiting for us with a drink and some super duper secret shit your pants drugs. So we spike the drink with that stuff and move on. The objective is to find the ambassador and assume his appearance to get past the security. But he has yet to arrive. To get him out, we ask where he is. We find out by talking to the pianist that if he plays the national anthem, the ambassador will come out of hiding. But he can't play it without a score, so we need to find that. As we started our search, we heard that a woman in a red dress was asking about us and telling people we were a movie star. Looking over our shoulder, we can see she is following us. We were told that she was the counter-spy and we needed to watch out for her and take her out discreetly. Now the toilet was the only place no one else was, so that is where we went. And she followed us and we took her out and hit the body. With that taken care of, we continue and hope nobody checks the toilet. First, we find out that our teammate is finally alone, so we can get the face mask. With that in our inventory, we go on and find out that someone is sitting on the score of the national anthem we needed the pianist to play. So we get the score and give it to him. He plays the anthem and there is the ambassador. We talk to him and give him the spiked shit your pants drug drink we got earlier. he instantly shits his pants and makes a break for the toilet. Luckily for us, nobody follows him and we can take him out and use the face mask to take on his appearance and put his body in the other toilet stall. Now we have to hope even more nobody goes to the toilet or our cover is blown. With all that done, we can now make our way unnoticed to the secure area of the embassy. Now that was just the first stage of the mission, but that felt epic to me. I will only do some levels in that much detail, but I wanted to show how intricate this level was and how, for 1998, this was awesome. Even playing it today, this felt great. In my playthrough, I was still wondering why the game got such middling to bad scores. My memory of it was awesome, and replaying it to this point had me very entertained. It all felt and played great. Surely, if the game keeps this up, it's an absolute gem, right? The last level was amazing. Let's see how they follow that up. We must find a way through a basement warehouse stocked full of poison crates. And, well, let's get started, you will see. We knock out a guard and get a gun, then use the gun to shoot the crates open, releasing the gas. And from now on, until we find a suit, the level is on a timer. You keep losing health as you try to reach the end of the level. And this brings up so many questions. Like, why are all the boxes stacked in a way that makes it impossible to move around? Why is all this stuff stored in a basement of an embassy next to the KGB headquarters we are trying to reach? And why can we just pick up the boxes and just move them? It takes about 5 bullets per crate to destroy them, and if you run out without hitting the right crates, you are hard stuck and need to reset the level. I guess the developers thought it was a good puzzle for you to figure out what crates to destroy while being on a gas timer, but in reality it's horrible level design. It's just not fun figuring out which boxes are the correct ones to destroy. And to make matters worse, there's a second objective in this level where you have to destroy extra crates with stuff in them, thus wasting even more ammo. Eventually, you find a suit, but by the time you find it, you will have taken a lot of damage. And you will have to shoot some more people to get more ammo. But of course, then they can shoot back. And seeing how you are low on health at this point, the level is nowhere near done. It's awful. It's the worst kind of trial and error. Such a shame to have such a bad level after the last one. But we make our way through to the next part and let's see what the game offers again. So, to eliminate the awful smell of the last level, we are now treated to a good level. We have found our way to another puzzle level. You have your objectives and now we must figure out how to do them. And just like in the previous mission, you get all the time in the world to figure out what you're supposed to do. As long as you don't pull a gun or hit a guard, you should be fine. And what a difference that makes. Not to have some dogshit timer mechanic like in the last level. Now we have to find both our missing teammates. To do that, we must switch our look to that of a high-ranking officer. We go to the office of the highest ranking person in the building, but he is busy, so we must wait. So we walked around the level for a bit and found some items we needed to complete the mission. First we find a video freezer and then we find a beeper. After that we find our first teammate, but he did not make it. And after telling us he hid a face mask somewhere, he dies. And we are left trying to save our second captured teammate. Now we know there's a face mask in the closet. It of course is guarded and we are not allowed inside. So we use the beeper to distract the guard and get the face mask, and then make our way back to the office. Now we are allowed inside, and we need to take out the security head here in order to use the face mask on him. And here is a neat little detail. If you mess up on this level, the guards become hostile to you, and most of the time that means it's game over. But if you are in the office and the chief sees you pulling a gun or something, he will sound the alarm. But if you are fast enough to knock him out, copy his appearance, you can then use your new disguise to tell all the guards that the situation is under control. Being able to do this blew me away as a kid. Anyway, Now that we have the disguise, we make our way to the secret recording room and freeze all the cameras. With that done, we take fake transfer orders and pick up our teammate who is still alive, and we get on with the mission, which is to steal a list from a computer and upload a virus. This level is just awesome. Again, there is very little focus on combat, it's about figuring out what to do and how to do it. It even allows for some counterplay when you mess up. It's not just an instant game over. I love these parts of the game. Let's hope they keep it up. So, next up, we made it to a hallway full of traps. There is little to say about this level. The floor lights up in a pattern and you have to jump over the red squares. While the jumping controls are very janky and the hitboxes on the floor are all over the place. Sometimes the floor just electrocutes and sometimes it explodes. The tiles that explode have a way bigger hitbox for some reason and they're an instant kill. Not a good level, but it's over in a few minutes, so nothing as bad as the basement one. Oh no, this level is one you just can't understand why they made it this way. So, first off, it kind of looks like a sewer level, which is almost always awful. In this level, there are many ways you can screw yourself over. Like trying to shoot this guard and hitting the panel behind him will make it explode, hard locking you. So you have to reset the level. So you need to hit some switches to lower bridges to get Candace to the mainframe, so we can steal some stuff from it. And of course we need to escort her. Whenever something happens to her, you guessed it, it's game over. And you will learn to hate Candace with a fiery passion, as she constantly gets into trouble and gets in your way. So after we drop some bridges and take Candace to the supercomputer, she does her thing and we can escort her to the end of the level, and what an awful level that was. So the last level was awful, but how about escorting a useless NPC back to the previous levels while people are constantly shooting at you? Oh, don't worry, Candace will run in your way at the worst moments you can imagine, just to add that little extra flair to the level. So, to start, we disable a few mounted machine guns and make our way to a console. We find a few of our items there, but Candace gets captured again, and now we have to save her. When we find her, the guard that kidnapped her has stolen the disc we were here to get, and you have to stop him in order to get it back. But he must be an Olympic runner or something. Look at him go. If you don't stop him in time, it's game over, and you have to do the turret section again. Now you can electrify the floor once. But the first time I figured this out, I accidentally killed Candace. Well, shit happens. But the thing is, if your timing is off and the runner is not on the correct floor, you lose, it's game over. Do the turret section again. If you are on time and kill him after he gets a little too far, he drops the list in front of a firing squad, which will take too much ammo and health to kill. You can try to outrun them, but if they are too close to the door, you need to go through to progress the level, it won't open and it's game over. Back to shooting turrets again. So the best case is to get him shocked on the floor before the firing squad. What an ordeal, right? After much trial and error and turret shooting, I found a really easy way to do this. In this game, you can shoot from the hip. It's extremely inaccurate, however, if you manage to hit the guard once, it will stop running. He will default back to normal behavior, and you can take him out with no problem. Recover the disc and go on. But it's not bulletproof, as sometimes you simply keep missing him and you have to resort back to the electric floor trick. And just to remind everyone, this took me way, and I mean way too much time to figure out. Every time I reset, I first have to shoot all the damn turrets again. It sucked hard. So after that, the level is not over yet. We just had the first half of it. In the second half, things get even more dicey. So here we are in a previous level and we have infinitely spawning enemies, which are just the worst. And we have to complete a few objectives before we can move on and complete the level. And remember, there's infinitely spawning guards, and you have to escort Candice around, who also does her thing in this level and just gets in the way. To complete all the objectives, we have to go back to the video room we went into earlier and reactivate the camera system. So we can then disguise ourselves as a bad guy in order to frame him for all this. And then, with the cameras turned on, we have to run around the level and destroy all of them. And find the key card to exit the level. All while of course there are way too many guards firing at us. If you manage to do all that, you can then leave the level. And all this is underselling how much this level sucks. Between the escort mission and the infinitely spawning guards, there are way too many objectives you have to do. Whenever you die or Candice dies, when you fail one of the objectives, it's always back to the start and do all the things over again. Well, to summarize, this level is kinda poopy and I don't like it that much. This level is like fresh water coming out of a desert. It's short and sweet. We only knock out one guard, get our disguises and then leave. That's it. Yeah, all that misery in the last few levels, we get this very easy and short one. But I won't lie, it's just what I needed here because I was so done with this embassy. Let's move on to the next mission. So in a very abrupt change, all of a sudden you are captured by the CIA and accused of treason. I guess they did this to follow the storyline of the first movie, but the thing is, the game until now had very little to do with that. And there is no in-game explanation as to why you are now in prison. The text begins by saying that it does not look good for you, and that's it. It's so weird. Anyway, let's focus on the level itself. We start in the interrogation room as we figure out how to escape. We drank some spiked coffee and now it's only a matter of time before we pass out. Luckily for us, a friend left some explosive gum under the coffee mug and we use that to blow up the room's glass and escape. We pick up our gadgets and sleep darts and go to the hallway. Here we knock out a guard and take his taser and continue. Now the neat thing is, you can use the paint spray that's behind the boxes here to block out the cameras. And when you do this, the guards stop spawning. So the spawn is not as awful as in the previous level, and again I like that there is counterplay to be had here. The rest of the level is quite easy. Just make sure you stun this guy before he pulls the alarm and make sure to take down his boss after he opens the door for you. Once we make it to the elevator, we talk to the nurse who gives us an antidote to the drug we had. To finish this level, we cause a distraction and go to the roof. Overall, it's a short level, nothing too fancy, but nothing frustrating. If only they could have kept that going into the next level. This level is just plain bad again. It's so frustrating how this game keeps teetering between really good level design only to switch to this garbage. So what's going on here? Well, it all comes down to the mechanics in the level and way too many objectives to complete. For example, you cannot kill anyone. That makes sense. You are falsely accused and these are normal people just doing their job, so you can only stun them. Now that's all fine and dandy. But unlike previous levels, where even stunned enemies disappear, they are just stunned here and get back up again. And as a reminder, you have limited ammo. And to make it a lot worse, in this level, your health does not matter. Because if a guard sees you and you don't stun him within about 5 seconds, you just give up and it's game over. This mechanic alone makes this level so frustrating to play. Because sometimes you have no idea where they are and they see you, you see a text appear meaning someone saw you, only to be unable to find the guard in time and poof, you are game over, back to the beginning. And considering you have a lot of steps to do, it becomes frustrating after a while. So again, with this level, there's a lot of trial and error without enough counterplay, and that is just no good. Let's go over all the objectives here. First, we switch off the lights of the helipad so the helicopter won't land. After we're done with that, we sneak to the top of the roof to find our disguise. We disguise ourselves as a repairman to gain access to the helipad. Then, we have to find and stun, without being spotted, the correct guard who drops an access pass we need. Then we need to fix the light again. Then we need to install the jammer to keep the helicopter in place, and then we have to find a way through another section of the roof. Then we must find the correct spot to deploy a laser disrupting device thingy, and then we have to find a good place to put down the camera to lure out a guard so we can film the code he inputs, and then we need to recover the camera, input the code, and then finally, if all goes well, you can end the level. Remember that if you mess up any of those steps, you have to do all the previous ones again. And if you are ever too close to a guard, you are instantly game over. This happened to me here when I was just a few meters away from the end of this level after so much trial and error. This was the second worst level so far. It is such a waste too. The level concept is pretty cool, but the instant game over mechanics make it a frustrating ordeal that focuses on shooting and aiming controls, which are not the game's strength. But speaking about bad controls and mechanics, okay, in this level they want to emulate a scene from the movie. Now in theory this is kinda cool, it looks cool, I like the idea, only once again they completely mess it up. How? Well, by an amazing combination of crappy controls and crappy hitboxes. So the idea is that only your body can set off the laser, so you don't have to worry about the rope. Red lasers do damage, but hitting a yellow laser means you are instantly game over. But the controls are too janky to get any movement from left to right. You have to be very specific with your inputs, or you will go all over the place, hitting all the lasers on your way down. You have to play this one to experience how crappy the controls are. But the second thing is that the hitboxes of the lasers are very wonky. Just look at this failed attempt here. I am nowhere near the laser. Here is the successful attempt, where I am a lot closer to the yellow laser, but it does not go off. Even when you make it down, the control suckage does not stop. You have to be at the exact right height to access the card reader, and then you have to slightly lower yourself to access the computer. If you are not at the exact right height, it won't work. Anyway, after many attempts I made it. This level was a cool idea, but a terrible execution makes it suck. This level has all the negatives the last Rooftop level had. But now there's also a helicopter searching for us, and if it finds you, you guessed it, instant game over. The goal of the level is to escape, so we need to get to the helicopter we jammed to do that. And to get there, we need to make a very janky jump over the laser fence. I don't know if this is the developer's intended way to do it, but I could not find another way down. That didn't get me immediately captured. Well, getting the jump is the only tricky part of the level. After we make our way to the helicopter, we unjam it, make our escape and finish the mission and move on to the next. New mission, new objectives. So in this level, we play as a different character and we need to protect Ethan by sniping all the baddies. And again, it's a cool idea, but the execution is not great. Often Ethan will walk behind objects so you can't see him or help him. But the thing is, the bad guys can do the same, so sometimes you just sit there hoping one of them will move so you can shoot something, but it does not happen and the damage piles on. When playing this level, I completely wore out the joystick on my N64 controller and could not keep up with all the action because of it. At the time I had no spare laying around, so I had to bump down the difficulty in order to make this level. I didn't like doing that, but it's the only way I was going to complete the level otherwise. However, that's not the fault of the game itself. At the end of the level, Ethan makes it to the train where the bad people are. Now we are on a train and we need to fight our way through it to stop a bomb from exploding. Nothing too weird about this level, although I think it's a shame it relies a lot on shooting your way through the whole thing and not enough on the spy stuff. Anyway, we recover the disc, disable the bomb and then make our way to the top of the train. All in all, it's not a bad level, it's not a good one either. This level is inspired by the movie as well. You are on the top of the train trying to catch the bad guys and end the mission. Again, this appears in the movie where Ethan finds out who the bad guy is, and then, near the end of the movie, he fights the bad guy on top of a train. It's very action-packed and fast-paced, but again, this level focuses on the game's biggest weakness, the shooting. There's no unique objective or smart spy stuff, just shoot everything until the level ends. So, we catch up with the bad guy and we kill him. The level and the game story are at an end. Ethan's name is cleared, although the guy doing the debriefing says he knew Ethan was innocent, but they framed him anyway to find the mole. Kind of a dick move, but Ethan takes it like a champ. After the story is finished, the game treats us to one more mission. It's the first level again, but this time with more to do. Everything we have already seen is present at this level. It's like the developers combined all the separate elements in the previous missions and threw them all together in this last one. It begins with an item hunt, then it progresses to a dumb shooting level, and then the second last part, you can use one of your teammates to snipe enemies, only to then get to dress yourself up as the accountant and stop a weapons deal from happening. To top it all off, the last thing you do in this game is a turret section where you are on a boat, destroying everything you can see. It feels out of place, but it's something new, and now the whole game is finished. We've done it all. To end things on a fun note, the developers included a little last goodbye. Here you go back to the embassy mission and talk to all the developers, who all have something silly to say. Once you talk to all of them, Ethan and Candace come downstairs to hug it out while fireworks go everywhere. This little touch was pretty neat. At the beginning of this video, I asked the question if this game held up. And it's much more of a mixed bag than I remembered. Whenever I try to recall why I like this game, I only remembered the embassy and KGB headquarters levels. Not the levels where there was a lot of shooting to do. It's such a waste that the developers didn't put in more levels where you are doing spy stuff, disguising yourself, figuring out how to best finish a level. Whenever the game turns into a third-person shooter, it's just the worst. So, is the game complete trash? No, not the whole thing anyway. The way I look at it, the game has 20 levels in total. 2 of them are absolutely amazing, and it's a shame they didn't work on adding more of those. 7 of them are okayish, if not a bit stale, and the other 10 are just garbage, to be honest. But the weird thing is, I enjoyed those 2 levels so much that even after so many years later, I still remember them and the game itself fondly. And I guess that counts for something. So, should you play this game? I suggest just playing the first 2 missions and leaving it at that. I think the game has peaked after you are done with those. And the rest is just not worth it. That was all I have to say about this game. Thank you for watching.